Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, you guys requested a eyeshadow palette collection video. I put a poll up on my Twitter if you guys wanted to see a collection or a declutter, and most of you guys said collection, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the collection first and then I'll film the declutter video after that, because I think you guys should see like what I have first before I declutter some palettes. If you see some kitties, I'm literally sitting like on my floor right now, and so I have the kitties in here. This one is Pumbaa, and the baby, I don't know where the baby is. And then Sarabi is asleep on my bed. So I keep most of my products, there's a cord, keep most of my products in the Alex 5 drawers. So I have the Alex 5 drawers, I have a drawer unit right here, and then I have a drawer unit right here. So I have two Alex 5 drawer units, and then I have a table topper. It's cheaper. If you guys want the IKEA Alex drawers, it's honestly cheaper just to get the 5 drawer units, to get two 5 drawer units, and then just get a table topper, because it saves the shipping. Otherwise your shipping is like $199 or some craziness like that, unless you have an IKEA store nearby. Come here, Pumbaa. Hi, buddy. He's my little Pumbaa. So anyway, so this video is going to be so long, you guys. I am so sorry, but I know it's going to be long. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that they're just my passion. I love eyeshadow palettes. They're my favorite part of makeup. So we're just gonna get into this. I'm not gonna do swatches just because I don't edit my videos, and if I did swatches, it would take so long. So, third drawer. This is not organized by any means. I need to organize this. Maybe I'll do a video of me organizing it. So, first palette is the Too Faced. This is the little like watermelon eyeshadow palette. It doesn't smell like watermelon to me. It's supposed to smell like watermelon, but it doesn't, so it smells a little weird. I'm actually gonna move you guys down just a little bit so you see less of me and more of the products. So then I have the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry. I did a look with this, and it was in my favorites video. So I love that one. This one is the Holiday 2016 palette from Kylie Cosmetics. I love the silver shade in this one. It is so good. Then another Too Faced palette, I have the Too Faced I Want Candy with the collab with Candy Johnson. Is there enough lights in this? So I need to turn on some lights. I always have a lighting problem because I sit down to film and then like, for some reason, it just looks really dull. So this is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold. I had a little bit of issues with this. I know a lot of like YouTubers and stuff really loved this palette, and I liked it, but it definitely wasn't a favorite. It only comes with four matte shades right here, and then the rest are shimmers, which really isn't that big a deal, but I did not like some of these shimmers. Like this pink one, I didn't like the pink one. I didn't like the green one. I definitely did not like this purple shade. So I just had a little bit of issues with this palette, but I know a lot of people loved it. So I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette, which was gifted to me by a friend for Christmas this year. So this is what that looks like. Of course, the Modern Renaissance. I mean, everyone has this palette. Mine is used, very well used. More Kylie. So I have the Kylie, this is the burgundy one. I use the heck out of this shade right here. It's a really good palette. I do like this one. And if you see me just like casually reaching up here to like drink tea. Moving on. I have this little mini Too Faced chocolate bar palette. This is a really good travel palette. It's all matte shades though, but it smells like chocolate, and so it's just really easy to travel with. I have a little mini Lorac matte Pro. Again, these are all matte shadows, but a really good travel palette. I love these two shades, the Bear and the Linen. I think they're so good for setting your eyeshadow primer. So like that. The infamous Subculture. I didn't have too many problems with this one, you guys. I know a lot of people hated it, but like if you can tell, like this shade Electric I've used like crazy. I love this shade, and I love the shade like Roxy and Dawn, so I like it. I know a lot of people didn't. I know there was a lot of drama with that palette, but I liked it. So I have a couple little mini Hudas, which of course I love. This is the Mauve Obsession palette. My favorite, which is the Emerald. I use this like crazy. Love that shade. That's the Emerald. The Topaz. That one's. This is probably my least used of the little mini Huda palettes. Then I have the Amethyst, which I love purple eyeshadow. So I love that one. Then this was in my favorites of 2019, and this is the Nude Light, which has beautiful neutral shades, yet it has like beautiful pinks and purples. So this would be a really good travel palette as well. I love it. All right, let's kind of reach into the back of these drawers. These drawers don't come like all the way out, so that's kind of frustrating. So I have the Soph Time X Makeup Revolution London palette. Let's love this pink shade right here. This is really good. This is a really good affordable palette. Another Kylie. This is when she changed her packaging, and this is the Blue Honey, I believe. Yes, the Blue Honey. Honestly, you guys, like I bought this and I have only touched 2 shades, which is this shade and this shade. I haven't touched anything else in this palette. Then, oh, wrong way. I have the Kat Von D Shade and Light. This is another just all matte palette. Beautiful neutral shades. It looks like I haven't touched it, but honestly, you guys, I really only go to this palette for 2 shades, which is this shade and this shade. So, there's that. Let's do some of these. The Tarte lip palette. This is the first one that Tarte came out with, and it is all matte shades. All mattes. Sometimes it's kind of hard to show you guys because the packaging's like super reflective. But that is the first one Tarte came out with. Then this palette, you guys. I don't like this palette. This is the Kylie. This is the Royal Peach palette. I do not like this palette. It is so dry. Of like all of Kylie's formula, I think that this was like the worst. Of all of Kylie's palettes, I think this was the worst. I don't like this one. I'm sorry. But it's in my collection. I still have it. Whoop. I have the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, which, okay, I love this palette, but I wore this palette to work one day, and one of my customers came up to me and told me my eyeshadow looked horrible. And I was using this palette, and it was like the first time I had ever used it too. I have this little mini e.l.f. Sculpting Silk eyeshadow palette. Just has 3 little colors in it. This one was, I'm sorry, a waste of money in my opinion. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. Beautiful, beautiful colors, but it was the first Natasha Denona palette and the only Natasha Denona palette that I bought just because it was on sale at Sephora. And I wasn't a big fan of it. I have a cat that is trying to tear down the world over here. Goodness gracious. All right. This was the first palette I ever bought from Too Faced, and it's the Cat Eyes palette. I've used and abused it. I'm about to hit pan in that shade. I have hit pan in this shade. but this was like the first like higher end like Too Faced palette that I bought. So I have the ColourPop My Little Pony palette. This was my first ColourPop palette, and I have used this one as well. I hit pan in this shade. This is a beautiful like blue color. Yeah, I really like this one. Alright, I have the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I honestly have not taken this out of the box. I really need to, because I don't know why I like to keep these boxes. That's what that looks like. This is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous eyeshadow palette. It is so pretty. But I've not even touched it. I'm so excited to like sit down and like use this, maybe film a look with it or something. But I think it's beautiful. I have the Kathleen Lights in ColourPop. This was the first one she came out with, I think. And this is the Dream Street palette. I honestly, guys, don't use this one that much either, but I think it's pretty. So, another Kylie palette. This was when she was pregnant with her daughter Stormy. She created this, and this is the Calm Before the Storm. It's just a pastel palette. I love the top row, which is mattes, but this bottom row, like this shade right here, I cannot use it. It just does not perform. So same with like these other bottom shades, I just don't think they're that good of quality. So I have the Morphe and Jeffree Star palette. I actually just bought this when it was on sale at Ulta. I was so happy. So I've really only used like 2 shades in this palette, but I will definitely continue to use it, and I'll let you guys know like what I think about it. I have one Dior palette, and this is the 5 Couture's Designer. Guys, I don't know why I bought this. I don't use these shades. I really don't. I think I just bought it because it was like Dior. But it's like black, a silver, a white, and like a gray tone, and then this middle shade's like another light silver. I don't use this palette, but I had it for some reason. Alright, I have the Milani Bold Obsessions. I take this one traveling with me a lot. Like, really light shade to set your eyeshadow. You can use this shade as a highlighter. Beautiful gold, and it performs so well. I love Milani's formula. I need to get more of these. I have the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette. And honestly, you guys, I bought this when I was having like a neutral brown craze, and I like it. I do like this one. I am almost hit pan in the shade Nougat. It's got beautiful, just brown neutral tones, but I don't use browns that much anymore, but I still have it. Or I don't use, I'd say like I don't use like dark browns anymore. I don't use a lot of like dark browns. I have the Too Faced Semi-Sweet, or Sweet Peach, sorry, Sweet Peach palette. This was given to me by a friend, and it smells just like peaches. It has beautiful, just like peach tones in it, so I have that one. This is my favorite Tarte palette, you guys. Like, I love this thing. This is the Tartelette Toasted. I love this shade. I love more like red tones, more warm tone shadows, and so I love this palette. I think this one, of like the Tartelettes, I think this one is the best one that they've done, in my opinion. I have one Violet Voss palette, which is the Violet Voss Berry Burst. This is another great travel palette, you guys. Beautiful warm tones and neutrals. Berry tones, I guess I should say. So yeah, I have that one. I have the Kat Von D Alchemist palette. This is the weird triangle holographic palette that I never ever use. I mean, they're gorgeous, but I just don't use it. I have the Laura Lee Nudie Patootie palette. This is honestly, you guys, one of my favorite like neutral palettes. I adore this thing. The formula and the quality of this is just like unbeatable, honestly. It is so good, and she always has like sales and stuff. So I believe this palette's like $45 or like something like that, and she has a lot of sales that you can get this for like half off or like 40% off, or you buy this and you get like a lipstick free. So I would highly recommend this palette. This one's the other Too Faced Tutti Frutti palette. This is the Sparkling Pineapple Eyeshadow palette, which you can tell I've used this one quite a bit, and it smells like pineapples, and the packaging looks super cute. Oh, let's get more stuff out. All right, this is the ColourPop Element of Surprise palette. More neutrals with like a random pink. I don't understand why they did that. I mean, I guess Element of Surprise, you know, that's the surprise, but it's just kind of random to have in a palette. I have the ColourPop Yes Please, which is the first palette that they came out with, which are reds and oranges, more warm tones. So I do like this one. The ColourPop Meant to Be, I reviewed this on my channel, and I love this palette. I love green eyeshadow. It's one of my favorites, and these are gorgeous. These are really light greens. So this is a really good palette. I think it's sold out now. You can't get it, but if it comes back in stock, I'd recommend getting that palette. And Tea Break. Moving on. The Too Faced White Chocolate Bar palette. This one was my favorite of the chocolate bars, honestly, and I know a lot of people were so confused because there was like no browns in this, and a lot of people didn't like it, but this one was actually my favorite of all of them. So, and it was limited edition. I don't think you can get this one anymore. I have the White Peach palette. This was given to me by a friend. I can't open it. These are so difficult to open sometimes. I've used it once, and I used this shade right here. I liked it. I didn't have any issues with it so far, but I've not really used it long enough to really give you like a full opinion on it. So, kitty. I have a kitty trying to attack me. Yes, child. All right. Another ColourPop palette. This is the ColourPop and Bretman Rock collab, and this is the Wet palette. There was also a Lit palette, but I loved the blues in this one a little more, so I bought this one. This silver is like so good. I love silver too. You'll notice with me, like there's certain shades that I just like get because I love them. So, this is the e.l.f. 18 Hit Wonders palette. This is what this looks like. I also did, this was in my e.l.f. Best and Worst, and I loved this palette. I think the quality of this is so good for only 14 bucks. You can get it at Walmart, at a drugstore, and it's really good. I have one Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette, and this is the Bling Boss. This is my most used purple palette. I'm almost hit pan in that, almost hit pan in this. I love the shade Gem. This is just like so good. So then we have the second Tarte palette that they came out with, I think, and this is the Tartelet. This packaging is so difficult sometimes. That's what that looks like. Oh my goodness. Shinzy. Oh, when you have cats, guys, you can never win sometimes. All right, this is the Too Faced Life's a Festival palette. I got this at TJ Maxx, and I kind of regretted it, honestly. I mean, it smells like Jolly Ranchers to me, but when I got it, I got it home, and like I checked at the store and everything, but this shade like broke. It came out, and I had to like repress it, and then these other shades just did not perform like I was hoping, so it was a little bit of a disappointment, but it's okay. I have the Makeup Revolution VIP palette. Ugh. I've hit pan in, obviously, this shade. I use it. A lot of these look very similar in the pan, but when you get them on the eyes, they look a lot different. I'm almost going to hit pan in this one soon, too, so I do like this palette. I have another Laura Lee palette, and this is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Cat's Pajamas. This was the first one she came out with, which is gorgeous. Love the warm tones and the berry tones. And then you have like your neutrals and your golds for your everyday eyeshadow wear. So yeah, that's what that one looks like. I have the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. This one, I hate that it's being discontinued. This was honestly one of my favorites. What else can I say? I love this palette. I love this palette. This silver is gorgeous. I really wish that he would keep this one. It's honestly one of my favorites. And the packaging is so cool because it has these like little drips on it. So, but it is being discontinued, so grab it while you can. This is just a little Ulta Z palette that has some single shadows. I have, let's see, this one is a MAC. This is a Ciate. This is actually a highlighter. These, I believe, this is definitely ColourPop. I think these are all ColourPop, and then these are like Kylie Cosmetics. And then the ones at the top are my Mary Kay single shadows. So there's that. I have another Kat Von D palette. This is the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. This is just what this looks like. I like how she did this, honestly. Like, don't send me any hate because it's Kat Von D, but I like how you have like your matte shades and then you have like your shimmer shades. So you can create a whole look with this palette, and everything's like paired up really nicely. So I do like it. You can't get it anymore. It was limited edition, but I have two more Kat Von D palettes. Again, don't come for me. This is the Pastel Goth. This was my favorite palette she ever created, and it's just nice pastel colors. And I don't use it because these are not available anymore. You can't get them, and people are selling them for like $90, $100 on eBay and Depop and all that. So I don't use it. It's gorgeous, but I don't use it. The story behind this one actually is this came out when I was moving from Atlanta to North Carolina, and I really wanted this palette, and at the time I could not afford it. And so, you know, fast forward 4 or 5 years later, you can't get it anymore. It's discontinued. So I actually had to buy this palette because I wanted it so bad. I had to buy it off of a seller, off of Depop, and yeah, that's the story of that palette. It's just special. All right, then we have the Kat Von D Lolita palette. This, you guys, please, like, okay, let's get real. I didn't see the kitty. Don't get mad at me for liking Kat Von D shadows and liking, I mean, I don't like Kat Von D, but just liking makeup. Like, don't come for me. I don't want to hear anything in the comments about this. I bought this because I like the colors, because I like the shadows, the way they perform, not because of the person. So it's makeup, you guys. Just please, I don't want to hear it. You know, keep the negativity about Kat Von D to yourselves. It is what it is. So, and I think this is the last Kat Von D product I actually even bought. So anyway, moving on. Moving you down. So this is the Lolita palette. I do love the shades in this. I do use this actually on a daily basis. I like this shade and this shade. They are definitely my favorites. Her formula is so good, so I do like this palette. And that is it for the drawer. We're empty with drawer number 1. Now moving on to drawer number 2. This is where I keep a lot of my like bigger palettes because it's so hard to fit everything in one drawer, you guys. Like, it's not possible. So I have the Jeffree Star Bluebud palette. I love this palette. I love the quality of this. I love, again, blue and green eyeshadows. So this one is just so awesome. And you do have like some neutrals, some light shades in here. So that's really cool. And I love the packaging of this. It just is very bulky and is kind of hard to store. Another Jeffree Star palette I have is the Alien. This is actually my favorite Jeffree Star palette, and I didn't think I would actually like this because I do not use cool tone shadows. But this is my favorite, and I love this Probe shade. I love this Phone Home shade. I love this palette. I can always get a look with this. Unfortunately, this is being discontinued, and you will not be able to get it anymore. So I am holding on to it with dear life because I do love it. And tea break. Moving on. I have one Marc Jacobs palette. This is the Marc Jacobs 790 Finesse palette. This is just gorgeous pink and gold shades. I have a kitty that just wants to attack her mommy today. All right. I have another Laura Lee palette. This is the Boss Babe palette. This is very much one of my favorite travel palettes ever. Love this shade. About to hit pan in that. It's just so easy to create a look with this. So really good. I have a couple like Juvia's Place palettes. I have the Warrior, which is just neutrals, just neutral browns. I love Juvia's Place like shimmer formula. Their matte formula is a little hard to work with for me personally, in just my opinion, but her shimmer formula is really good. So that's the Warrior. I have the Deuce, which is probably my favorite. Love this pink shade, it's so good. This is just kind of like a random all over palette, honestly. Then I have the Zulu. I have fun fact, guys. I actually decluttered this like a year ago, and then I ended up repurchasing it, and I still feel the same way about it. It just does not perform the way that I would like it to. The looks that I create just don't look that great, but I do have it again, so there's that. This is the BH Royal Affair palette. It's very random, in my opinion. It is definitely cooler toned, but it is so hard for me to create a look with this, and I do not know why. That's what that looks like. I have the BH Carly Bible palette. This is the deluxe edition, so this is like the second one she did. And this is what that looks like. The highlighters in this are so good. They are so good. Like, I wish that she would just go back to BH and be like, can I make my highlighters again? Because I love these highlighters in this palette. The eyeshadows are good too, but the highlighters are definitely my favorite. If you can see the pile of products, I was just piling everything up on the floor, and I'll put them back in the drawer a little later. This is another Laura Lee palette. This was her 2018 holiday collection. Yeah, and this is the Sleigh Bell. This one did not perform like I wanted it to. Like, this cream shade just was really hard in the pan and just kind of difficult to work with, but it's a good palette. Kitty. Goodness. I have one Urban Decay palette, you guys. One Naked palette, I guess to say. And this is the Naked Ultimate Basics. And I regretted this purchase too. I don't use it. I don't use it. And it's so sad because it's so gorgeous. But it's just not my cup of tea. So anyway. I have the Laura Lee Party Animal palette. This is her Neon Brights palette. Again, this wasn't my favorite formula. Brights and neons are so hard to formulate, and I just do not think she got this one right. But I do actually still use it, and I do, you know, enjoy it, and I make looks out of it. It's just not as long-lasting as I'd like. But I have a Lorac Mega Pro 4. This is the 4. And this is so good. I love this palette. This shade right here, Fairy Tale, is definitely my favorite. And then of course these like cream shades. Only thing I wish with Lorac is they make their pan sizes a little bigger, because I feel like I use the palette 3 times and I hit pan. So just wish they were a little bigger, but that's okay. I have the Manny MUA Life's a Drag palette. This is the only Manny palette I own. This shade though, Beat, is so good. I love this shade. I like the way he did this, because I like the neutrals and then I like the colors, and you can create a full look with this, no problem. So I do like that. I have a Wet n Wild palette. This is the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air, which is the dupe for the Anastasia palette. But honestly, I do use my Anastasia palette a little more than this. So let's go. I have the Jeffree Star Blood Sugar. I do keep it in the box because I don't know, I just think it looks really, really cool in the box. And this is what this looks like. I promise I use it, you guys. I promise. It looks like I don't. But that is that palette. I love it. Jeffree Star has just like the best eyeshadow formula. I'm just putting that out there. So I kind of have an extra Blue Blood palette in the box because my friend didn't like it and she gave me hers. So I have two now, and I keep it in case I ever, you know, hit pan on one shade in my Blue Blood palette. I can go to this one. So I just kind of have like a backup. Now with these, these are more backups. So this, I gotta find my original. Yeah, this is my original. This is my original Beauty Killer palette. This is the first high-end palette I ever bought, and it was Jeffree Star Cosmetics because I love, I love it. So it's a little worn, if you can't tell. I hit pan in this shade, and then I think my cat broke this one, and then I tried to repress it, and it did not go through well. And this getting ready to hit pan on this, getting ready to hit pan on Courtney. So this was just my first ever palette. It is like my baby. I love it. And so I keep it for sentimental reasons. So that's that. And then my friend did give me her Beauty Killer. And this is the one that I use when I want like my China White or my Vanity shade. I go to this palette. So now with the Androgyny, a similar thing kind of happened. I gotta find my original. This one was mine to begin with, and if you can, I don't know if you guys can tell, something broke. I broke a little bit of Deja Vu, and I was so upset, and my friend was like, oh, well, you can just have mine since you broke like half of your shade. So she sent me hers. So I now have a full Deja Vu, and then she broke part of her Dominatrix shade. So I have two palettes. They're both used, so I keep them. But yeah. Oh, I've got more. I forgot. I have more on my desk, you guys. The video's not over yet. I have the 35i by Morphe. What in the... It's a little dip in that. This is the new one that Morphe just came out with. I do like this palette, so I keep it on my desk. I keep my like Morphe palettes, like my big Morphe palettes on my desk because they are kind of difficult to store. I have my Morphe and James Charles palette. I don't use it that much, honestly. I don't. I did not like this purple shade. I cannot get it to work, but I do love the white one and the blues and the greens. I love how he did this as like a neutral, warm tone, yet rainbow palette. So, like that. And then the last palette, you guys, is my Morphe, what is this one called? 39S. And this is my favorite Morphe palette. And this is the pinks, the purples, the silvers, the reds. It's just my favorite Morphe palette. I love it, and I love how these are a different formula than the other shades in the palette. I think that's just really unique. So, but I keep my bigger ones on my desk right here. So, oh, let's move up. There's Kitty. Anyway, you guys, that is it for today's video and my eyeshadow palette collection. I now have to put all of this back. And Shinzi, oh, okay, we don't want to say hello. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you stayed till the end to see everything that I have. Just putting another disclaimer out here. I have been collecting eyeshadow palettes for years. It's my favorite part of makeup. So everything in this video I have bought with my own money. I just love makeup. So I'm not trying to brag by any means. I spent my hard-earned money on this over the past like 5, 6, 7 years. I don't even remember at this point, but just don't send me any hate, you guys. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.